There are 3 checks sitting out there right now with your name on them. Not next year, right now. And 9 out of 10 people watching this are going to miss all 3. Not because they don't qualify, but because nobody bothered to tell them the truth. One of them can knock over $200 a month off your Social Security bill. One of them can pay your electric bill in the dead of summer and the dead of winter. And the third one? That's a whole second check landing in your bank account every single month. Most people think they're not allowed to have it. They are dead wrong. Here's the number that should make you angry. 1 in 3 seniors who qualify for these programs never claim a single dollar. That's not pocket change. That's thousands of dollars a year, walking right past people who earned every bit of it. So today, we're fixing that. I'm going to walk you through all 3, what they are, who really qualifies, the real income numbers for this year, and exactly how to claim them. And stick around, because there's one mistake almost everyone makes that costs them the most money of all. I'll get to that in a minute, and it might be the reason you think you don't qualify when you actually do. Let's start with the one hiding inside a bill you're already paying. If you're on Medicare, Part B comes straight out of your Social Security check before you ever see it. In 2026, that's a little over $200 a month. Do the math on that. That's close to $2,500 a year, quietly disappearing before it ever reaches you. Now here's what almost nobody knows. There's a program where your state pays that premium for you. Not a discount, not a coupon. They pay it. Which means that $200 stops vanishing and your check goes up by that amount starting the very next cycle. And it can go further than that. The most generous version of this program doesn't stop at the premium. It wipes out your deductibles and your copays too. Which means those surprise bills after a doctor visit, gone. Now stay with me here, because this next part is exactly where people talk themselves out of real money. The income limits are higher than most people guess. For a single person, you can make close to $1,800 a month and still qualify. For a married couple, that number climbs past $2,400. So if you've already decided in your head that you make too much, I want you to pause on that. A lot of people who are absolutely certain they don't qualify are sitting right inside that window and don't know it. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Diane. 74 years old, modest Social Security check, widowed. Every single month, like clockwork, $200 vanished before that check ever hit her account. She always figured programs like this were for someone else, someone worse off. Turned out she wasn't. Someone finally ran her actual numbers and she qualified. Her state took over the premium. Her check jumped by $200 a month, just like that. $2,500 a year, and nothing about her life changed except somebody finally showed her the door was open. How do you get this for yourself? Call your state's Medicaid office, or better yet, call your local state health insurance assistance program. People call it SHIP. It's free. It's always free. Nobody legitimate will ever ask you for a fee to sign up for this. And when you call, you don't need to know any special terminology. You just say, I'm on Medicare, I'm on a fixed income, and I want to know if I qualify to have my Part B premium paid. That's the whole script. They take it from there. Now, before we move to the next one, I have to stop you for a second. Because the moment money like this exists, thieves show up right behind it. Here's how the scam works. Someone calls, claims to be from Medicare or Social Security, and says they can get your premium refunded today. They just need your bank information or your Social Security number to release it. Hang up. The real Medicare and the real Social Security Administration do not call you out of nowhere asking for that information to hand you money. If someone's rushing you on the phone and asking for your numbers, that's a criminal, not a benefit. You call them, not the other way around. Okay, on to the second one, and this one hits a bill I know keeps some of you checking the thermostat twice a day. It's called the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. Most people have never even heard the name. It's run through your state, funded federally, and it helps pay your heating and cooling bills. Depending on your income and where you live, that can mean anywhere from a couple $100 up to close to $1,000 paid straight to your utility company. You never even touch the money. Here's the part people get wrong almost every time. They hear heating assistance and picture January. But this program covers cooling too. For an older person in July, air conditioning isn't a luxury, it's a safety issue. And there's usually emergency money on top of it for a shutoff notice, a broken furnace, a dead air conditioner in the middle of a heat wave. And here's the relief part. None of this touches your Social Security. It's not counted as income against you, claiming it costs you nothing and takes nothing away from anyone else. But I need to be straight with you, because this is the reason I'm telling you now and not in December. The money for this program is limited. Once a state runs out for the year, that's it, until it's refilled. And older Americans on fixed incomes are usually first in line, but only if they're actually in line. Applications are open right now. Don't wait until the cold hits and the funding's already gone. Think about a retired couple, rationing the thermostat every winter because the gas bill kept climbing, figuring help like this was for someone worse off than them. One phone call later, a few $100s went straight to the utility company. The crisis fund fixed a furnace that had been limping along for 2 winters. That money was sitting there the whole time. Nobody came knocking. They just had to ask. How do you claim it? Contact your local energy assistance office or dial 211. In most of the country, that's a free helpline that connects you directly. Free to apply, always free. Now here's the big one, and for a lot of you, this is the one that changes everything because it isn't a discount and it isn't a bill getting paid off. It's an entire second check every single month. It's called Supplemental Security Income, SSI for short. And I need you to keep 2 things separate in your mind because this is where the biggest mistake in this whole video happens. Social Security is the check you earned by working. SSI is a completely different program for people 65 or older or disabled, living on a low income with limited savings. And here's the mistake that costs people more money than anything else on this list. Most folks assume that because they already get Social Security, they can't possibly get SSI too. And that's false. If your Social Security check is small, you can very often get SSI on top of it. For 2026, after the cost of living increase, a single person can receive close to $1,000 a month from SSI. A couple, just under $1,500. If you already have some Social Security coming in, your SSI amount usually gets reduced, but reduced isn't zero. A partial check every month can be the difference between a month that works and a month that doesn't. And here's where people count themselves out again, so let's clear it up. Yes, this program looks at your savings, but the home you live in doesn't count against you. Your car generally doesn't count either. So don't look at the house you own and assume you're disqualified before you even ask. I want you to picture a man named Lucas. 38 years on the job, a pension that dried up, a Social Security check that stopped stretching to the end of the month a long time ago. Lucas was sure SSI was welfare and sure he'd never see a penny of it. He was wrong on both counts. A partial SSI check landed on top of his Social Security, a few $100s every month. For the first time in years, the math finally worked out. How do you apply? Straight through the Social Security Administration, online, by phone, or in person at your local office. Free. Always free. Nobody legitimate charges you to file this. Now here's why this year specifically matters, even if you checked before and got turned down. At the end of last year, the annual cost of living adjustment moved every one of these numbers. SSI went up. The income limits shifted. The Medicare premium changed. And when the numbers move, the line for who qualifies moves with them. Someone who was $50 over the limit last year could be comfortably under it this year, without changing a single thing about their life. I've seen people get told no once, take that like a final answer, and never check again. But that line isn't fixed in stone. It climbs almost every year. The door that was closed last year might already be open. Nobody's going to call and tell you that. The only way to find out is to check again. So let's add it up because it hits different stacked together. The Medicare Savings Program, over $2,400 a year back in your check, plus your deductibles and copays gone in the best version. Energy assistance, up to $1,000 a year toward your heating and cooling. SSI, up to nearly $12,000 a year for the right person, and even a partial check is real money every single month. Add those up, and for a lot of you, we're not talking about spare change. We're talking about the difference between a retirement where every month feels like holding your breath and one where you can finally exhale. And here's what I really want you to sit with. The seniors who collect all 3 of these aren't smarter than you. They didn't work harder for it than you did. The only difference is they found out it existed and they picked up the phone. Now you know it exists too. So here's what to do with that. For the Medicare Savings Program, call your state's SHIP office or your Medicaid office. For energy help, dial 211 before winter or summer hits and the funding runs dry. For SSI, go straight to Social Security, all 3 free to apply for. And remember what I told you? Nobody legitimate calls you out of the blue asking for your bank number to hand you a benefit. You make the call, not them. Nobody's going to knock on your door and hand you what you're owed. This system only pays the people who ask for it. The only person making sure you get every dollar with your name on it is you. If this opened your eyes even a little, do one thing. Send it to someone you love who's over 65, especially anyone who's convinced the government doesn't owe them a thing. They might be sitting on thousands of dollars a year they've never once heard about. They're the last person who'd ever go looking for it. You could be the reason they finally do.